This is Dolynny TV, ladies and gentlemen. The Edmonton Oilers back on the channel this afternoon as the Oilers will take on the Philadelphia Flyers in afternoon action, a game in which the Oilers continue to look to improve their position in the NHL standings. Obviously, the Pacific Division is what it is, but the Oilers would like to start climbing higher and higher across the NHL, trying, if you're not going to win home ice necessarily throughout the playoffs, you want to have it in the Stanley Cup final. So a way to do that is be as high in the standings as possible without, of course, winning the President's Trophy, because you don't want to see the Oilers win the President's Trophy and get kicked out in round number 1, do ya? So for the Oilers this afternoon, they're 20-15-6, first in the Pacific Division against the third in the Metro, 20-12-7 Philadelphia Flyers. A team in which, it's been an interesting year for the Flyers from everything I can understand from the first year under head coach Rick Tocchet, not necessarily meaning bad, negative, or good or positive. It's just been, again, an adjustment year for the Flyers, and they're doing just fine, I guess. Third in the Metro, right? 20 wins, same as us, and few less games played, so things will maybe tonight or this afternoon start sorting themselves out for the Edmonton Oilers as we get things going. I should get, for those of you just joining in here early, the poll started as we'll go with the old classic who wins tonight as we go with Flyers, Oilers. Easy enough. Start poll. Perfect. So the Oilers, I think the big talk, and this will be the big talk after the game as well, depending on how the usage and how the stuff goes for the kid line, is the kid line is a thing for the Oilers in 2026. It's been a while since we last had a true kid line, and we will see. You got Matt Savoy centering it, you got Ike Howard, you got Quinn Hudson on that line, and how effective can they be against a Philadelphia Flyers team in which the Oilers side should be able to kind of shelter those youngsters against the Flyers, maybe better or maybe tougher players. But I guess the question now is, as those young players, are you wanting to be sheltered, or do you want to go out there and showcase what makes you the pro you believe you are? That's, I guess, maybe the question there to ask yourself is, as an Oilers fan, would you want to see these guys getting protected, or would you want to see them going out there and, making the tough plays against tough players, against good players, and really going out there? I guess goal scoring, no matter how it happens, is a welcome positive as an Oilers fan, so maybe there's that aspect to it as well. So glad to have you aboard here this afternoon. We're about 13 minutes away from the broadcast getting old Gene Principe going for us in the new year, and of course then we're about 8 minutes after that, so buck 38 to puck drop here, so 20 minutes. That would be the key. As Monique, welcome aboard again as we get things rolling on tonight's broadcast. Of course, Calvin Pickard is in the net for the Oilers against the Flyers tonight. So Pickard trying to have himself a heck of a hockey game tonight like he did the other night. And looks like Quinn Hudson joined Paige Martin on the bench there for the on-the-bench interview with the Oilers. Of course, if you've tuned into the channel already this morning, you probably were tuning along for the Kazuma Okamoto. Messed that up a few times today. A couple of takes on the video. He signed a 4-year deal with the Toronto Blue Jays. Interesting news there. So Howard, Savoy, Hudson will indeed skate as a line against the Flyers as per Tony Barr. So it'll be RNH, McDavid, Hyman, Podkolzin, Draisaitl, Roslovic, Janmark, Henrique, Frederick, Howard, Savoy, Hudson. Again, I think you're hoping they're the third line. We'll see how that pans out. As Ekholm, Bouchard, Nurse, Regula, and Stajny alongside Emberson. So not much to get too excited about here early on before this game gets started again for the Oilers. Come out flying on an afternoon game at home. I've seen the Oilers struggle at home on the afternoon games a lot over the years that I've gone to Rogers. That said, there was one beautiful game against the Arizona Coyotes years back that was just absolutely incredible to watch. So I would like more of that. What would that have been? Would that have been, I think, February 2020 all the way back then. So crazy to think it's been that long since I watched the Oilers probably win an afternoon game at Rogers. But hey, what can you do? What are you going to do? as the Oilers, obviously, not a great afternoon at home team, but it's okay. We'll survive. Goaltending numbers, well, Dan Vladar's having himself a season with the Flyers. Didn't expect this. 14 wins, 6 losses, 3 OT losses, 240 goals against average, and 910 save percentage for old Dan Vladar, our former friend that used to goaltend there for the Calgary Flames. Cal Pickard, what's he doing? Well, 4 wins, 5 losses, 2 OT losses, 369 goals against average. Nice. 874 save percentage there for Pickard. So obviously things have picked up substantially for Pickard following that last victory over top of the Winnipeg Jets. That was mammoth for his numbers. And again, a victory similar to that here tonight where you allow 1 or no goals on 40 plus shots would really start to change things for Pickard. Again, the goals against average coming down below 3.7, I think for the first time all year it feels like. And the save percentage, if by the end of the night it can be up over 880, that would really start putting some good stuff when it comes to the goaltending for the Oilers, let me tell you. So again, Todd, good day to you as we get things fired up for today's live stream. I'm going to quickly take a TV timeout. I know I'm only 6 minutes in. Forgot to fill up the water bottle from last night, so give me a second. I'll be right back. Like I said, it's a 138 puck drop here today as the Oilers get underway against the Philadelphia Flyers. That being about 16 minutes away from now, so there's time to get things rolling this afternoon if you need to, grab a quick bite or whatever you need to do here before the game this afternoon. Is the Oilers, well, let me tell you, they need a victory here coming off the loss against the Boston Bruins, a loss that wasn't all too great. That's for sure. So hopefully for the Oilers, they can find a way to kind of rebound a little bit here and get the job done. As again, I'm just absolutely amazed that it's the year 2026 and Blue Jays News is the best video on the channel here today. So that is just kind of a crazy thought for me as we get things going. Super. Welcome in. You think Howard needs to work on his defensive play before he can confidently be an NHL player? Well, I will tell you, here's the thing with Howard. Is all signs point to he has been working on all facets of his game down there on the AHL and absolutely having some great results for him. So hopefully that's the case here. He comes in and shows steady presence on both sides of the puck tonight. Again, I don't think Howard's here to stay. I don't think Quinn Hudson is here to stay at the NHL level at this point of the season just yet. I think it's just the Oilers really needed to send a message to, a couple of guys in the bottom 6 that just aren't getting the job done. And I think the Oilers would really like to say, hey guys, let's get going here. And these guys are going to show you how to do it. So that's kind of maybe a little bit show up the veterans a little bit with the young blood. I'm not sure necessarily if that computes 100%, but I think it does make sense in my mind because we know that the old guys in the bottom 6 are just not getting the job done here for the Oilers over the past few weeks. So wouldn't surprise me if Ike Howard and Quinn Hudson are down back in the minors by the end of this week. So what would that be? Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So yeah, probably somewhere in there for the Oilers is when you'd expect to see Howard and Hudson go back down. At least that's my estimation because, again, the Oilers are going to probably have to take back a contract from Mangiapane. The Oilers are probably going to have to, at the same rate too, get Kapanen back into the lineup. So hopefully that all goes according to plan for the Edmonton Oilers. And Super, when it comes to Connor Unger, again, I wouldn't put your faith in Connor Unger. I would look more to Samuel Johnsson that's kind of where I'd be looking at it. If you're an Oilers fan looking at the goaltending right now as to who that next wave of goaltending is for the Oilers, it would be Johnsson 100% of the way. And again, I think, it's not out of the realm of possibility that Jari and Ingram are the tandem for the next 3 years. I do not think that's impossible given the fact that Jari's really not that old. I think everybody made bones because he's just past 30, but again, Jari, if he wants to come in and goaltend until whatever 2027, 2028, and alongside Ingram, who I believe is only like 29 at the same rate, so there's some promise there in terms of the goaltenders midway through their careers, and again, once the goalie kind of gets settled at the NHL level, what they can be. So I think the Oilers goaltending department is just fine in terms of top-down possibilities. Again, I don't think we need to expect one of these young kids to be a savior during Connor's current contract, because that's likely not going to happen. And I think as well, isn't that what we kind of did with Stuart Skinner and Jack Campbell? So again, hoping that the goaltending is going to be the savior of the team. Again, I just don't really agree with that when I know that, again, the Oilers, they should be able to beat anyone just based on the offense they have. And I think the question is there then, can you get the defense to help out the offense enough to win games? A big block at the right time. And the goaltending is always going to be what's going to be. The Oilers, again, not many nights outside of a couple from Pickard and a couple from Skinner this year, have the Oilers not actually been in games, right? You look at 6 OT losses this year. Well, if you flip the script and win 3 of those, now you're 23-15-3. That's a whole different story. And again, when you lose in overtime, you were in that game. When you lose in a shootout, you were in that game. And it's not just you can point the finger at goaltending, defense, or offense as to why you lost. So, yeah, that's kind of where the Oilers find themselves, right? I think it's just you got to put it all together at this point. And that's what this year's really going to be important for. That's why I think there's a lot of emphasis on the Oilers getting this bottom 6 situation figured out. Is if the Oilers don't put everything together, and that's been the defeat against the Florida Panthers 2 years in a row, is one thing's not going, another thing's not going, and you're only playing 50% of your game as the Edmonton Oilers that got you to the Cup Finals, and that's why Florida wins. Again, I know that Florida's an uber talented team given the players they have, and obviously even if the Oilers were firing on all cylinders, the chances of winning are still maybe at best 50-50. So kind of just a situation there for the Oilers, again, like I'm saying, where they just gotta come up with an effort this year as the clock winds down in the 2026 regular season now, and as well into the playoffs, where every single game, there's no excuses. The Oilers are doing everything they should be, and unless the other team's just that much more incredible, you don't get defeated. And that's kind of maybe what was a little frustrating to watch against the Boston Bruins, is the Oilers just took an off night and everything that could go wrong went wrong. So kind of need that to go here. So that's where we're at. And Super, I will tell you as well, when it comes to Connor Unger, he's making his AHL debut for the first time ever here this year, right? Like, this is his first stint at the AHL level because Connor Ingram's been called up, and obviously now Matt Tompkins and Connor Unger are the tandem down there in Bakersfield. So I would caution again, if you're thinking Johnsson's 3 years away, I would say Unger's still minimum 2 years away if nothing happens with obviously Johnsson coming ahead of him on the depth chart. And that's where honestly Oilers goaltending is voodoo at best. I know goaltending in the NHL is voodoo at best, but I don't see the Oilers having a young guy come up and rescue him. That's the problem, right? If somebody was capable of doing that, it would have been Stuart Skinner. But we chased him out of town, and that's pretty much what we do with all our young goalies. So maybe a little bit of hesitation on my part to allow another young goalie to be looked as the savior for the hockey team. But enough ranting about the goaltending, friends. We are just about to flip across to Gene Principe and the Oilers broadcast for tonight's game, as the Oilers look to try and get this job done here now against the Philadelphia Flyers in what is a pivotal game for a team that, again, losing that New Year's Eve matchup against Boston, you're still in first place in the Pacific Division. So now the question is, can you continue that here this afternoon against the Philadelphia Flyers? I guess only really time will tell here for the Oilers as this one. As this one will be a question for the Oilers here to, shelter the kid line, get some offense from the top six. Hopefully maybe this is the game that Frederick contributes a goal or something. And really, in all of this talk about our forwards and our bottom six, I'd love to see Bouchard get two, see Nurse get one, Ekholm get one, and the whole defensive core just be the reason we win the hockey game. That would be a fantastic go for sure. So I guess to see how this pans out as just trying to see what's going on social media here. Going to be a tough trade when Mangiapane is getting healthy, scratched every second game. Well, again, I guess if Mangiapane is injured, does that not make that much harder, Mr. Mark Spector? I'm not sure. But it is today. The next gen game for the Edmonton Oilers is an afternoon Saturday matchup against the Philadelphia Flyers as the Oilers try to get things going. And we've got the young broadcasters on the set here alongside Gene Principe today. So again, the kids game is always a tradition for the Oilers every year on a Saturday, usually January, February, somewhere in there. So I'm going to put the cat down. Very distracting animal. Get down, little cat. There you go. As the Oilers get set up for what should be a really big matchup. Again, if they can figure out the sheltering of the kid line and actually also playing them in that situation as well. Howard Savoy Hudson united for the first time as Oilers players in an NHL lineup. And the three most probably at this point promising prospects the Oilers have looking to try and get the job going here today for our Oilers squad. Connor McDavid, players with 33 plus points in a month since 1995-96. Connor McDavid, 34 points in December. That was passing. Stamkos's 33 in April 2012, I think. I'm not sure where that. Sorry, I was trying to read that graphic too fast, but I didn't at all use my brain in the process. So the peanut-sized brain continues here today as we got things rolling on the tunes and stuff. Kids running all parts of the show here tonight for the Edmonton Oilers. And hopefully on next gen day, a big day for the next gen of the Oilers offense. Again, Connor and Leon will be part of the top six until they retire. But when it comes to, Matt Savoy, Ike Howard, and Quinn Hudson, you're talking about guys that'll be alongside there for the top six. And, Matt Savoy, if he wants to pan out to be the rock-steady, right-hand shot, third-line center we've been looking for this whole time, hey, the Oilers aren't going to complain about that. There's a guy in Carolina that has made one hell of a career out of being one heck of a rock-steady third-line center. So this afternoon, Calvin Pickard in net for the Edmonton Oilers as he tries to improve his record again. He just desperately needs things to go his way this afternoon. 369 goals against average and an 874 save percentage for Cal Pickard. Obviously, if he can, find a way to have another 940 plus save percentage night and as well a goal or less against, things are going to look real good here for the Edmonton Oilers in the goaltending department with Calvin Pickard. As if you can get him below a 350 goals against average by the end of the month, I mean, that shouldn't be impossible. That should be actually pretty easy to do. Kind of closer to a 3.2 would be the desirable, and close to that 895 save percentage. Again, I know the save percentages are a little bit down across the NHL, so 895 across the NHL is somewhat decently respectable nowadays. So hopefully for us, Cal Pickard can get back there here with a couple great efforts against some teams here in the month of what is now January 3rd, 2026. Absolutely unbelievable in my mind, but glad to have you along for the ride here, friends, tonight as the Oilers take on the Philadelphia Flyers. Let's go Oilers asking there if I show the game or just chilling. Just chilling. Unfortunately, the game is copyrighted Sportsnet in the NHL, and they do not play nice on YouTube if you end up trying to steal their content. And Mr. Doom, sounds like Stuart Skinner, according to you, won the game there for the old Penguins today. Well, that's interesting to see. Stu's starting to turn it around. After a very tough stretch to start his Penguins career again. If you're Stuart Skinner and you're facing the Edmonton Oilers, started your career in a different team, that's not going to bode well, and it didn't for old Stu there. So the Oilers just going through the anthems here. We got a 2-anthem game tonight, and then we'll drop the puck between the Flyers and the Edmonton Oilers for, like I'm saying, the next-gen game. And the next-gen game for the Oilers on the ice is, of course, Ike Howard and Matt Savoy alongside Quinn Hudson, as that's a huge go if the Oilers can get that line to do something here for them in that bottom six. Let me tell you, be absolutely massive as we got things rolling here alongside the young anthem singer this evening for the Oilers, as we are just about on to O Canada, and then we'll be ready to rock and roll for this afternoon's game. It feels like this one's taken forever. I always get screwed up when these puck drops are a little bit delayed, right? It just it's easier to budget for when they're a lot delayed on Hockey Night in Canada, but when they're a little delayed, just that 8-7 minutes after the half hour, it's kind of tough. So here we go. Let's see what we can do this for here tonight, as we have O Canada now playing at Rogers Place, and the Oilers, like I'm saying, big night out of Cal Pickard, a big night out of the kid line, and the Oilers finding the offense from the defense. Those are the three things I'm hoping for here tonight, as that would be magical for the Oilers, especially on an afternoon game, to score 5, 6, 8 goals and get the job done here on an afternoon game in which, again, maintain that lead in the Pacific Division. The more you do that, the longer you do that, the better it bodes for you the rest of the season. The more wins you rack up in January, the less wins you have to rack up in March. So that's where the Oilers find themselves right now, just trying to complete this schedule that is the 2026 portion of the NHL 25-26 season, and a year in which the Oilers have been super successful so far, obviously being in first place in the Pacific Division, making some bold moves, shipping Stu Skinner out of town, and now the 2026 calendar begins today with an opportunity to really just have a race to the playoffs. Right, as it currently stands, the Oilers need about 23 to 24 more wins minimum to make the playoffs here, so it's going to be a challenge for them to get that going, and obviously getting the job against the Flyers here tonight done would be a huge start to that. So here we have it. The injuries starting to come to an end for the Oilers. Obviously, we still have a ton of players on the shelf. Kapanen, Wallman, you got as well Tristan Jarry. So there's a little bit of injury proneness still to this Oilers roster, but this afternoon with the Flyers in town for what is a massive matchup again, the Flyers pull a lot of fans from across northern Alberta into Rogers Place every single year, and now we buckle up for this Edmonton Oilers game, the next-gen game, as Cal Pickard comes out to skate around out in the slot area. Just get ready for this one. 874 goals save percentage, 369 goals against average, and a 4-5-2 record for old Cal Pickard this year so far. So looking to even up that record at long last. And of course, Dan Vladar running away with it, 14-6-3 for the Flyers. 249-10 in net for the Flyers so far this year. As we'll have the face-off at center ice, and it looks like drawing it back. The Oilers have it off the draw. It'll be fired in by the Oilers squad around to the far side. Picking it up there. Far side boards. Draisaitl trying to bat this one free. Roslovic pokes it into the corner for Draisaitl, as working against that wall where the Flyers trying to get away from Draisaitl. Bouchard near side point. Shot fired towards the net. And the Oilers, well, you know what? At least a shot attempt towards the net right out of the gate to start this game. Then a steal at the top of the Flyers zone. A shot towards the net, bobbled on. It'll be into the corner there, rolled around in behind the net to the far side boards, hammered back down by Ekholm. Picking it up now, Draisaitl to the middle of the ice, cut on and swatted out of the zone by the Flyers. Picking it up in the neutral zone, Bouchard almost with a turnover there. It'll be loading up now, Ekholm and Bouchard inside their own end, looking to get this puck up the left wing through the middle of the ice. The Oilers cutting up as McDavid tries to pull off some magic through the neutral zone, decides better of it as the Flyers will see it dumped in on goaltender Dan Vladar. Hyman along the wall, picking it up. Nugent Hopkins far side it goes inside the Flyers zone. Of course, the lines again, friends, in case you're wondering: Nugent Hopkins, McDavid, Hyman. Top line remains the same. So too does the second line for the Oilers as the Flyers down the right wing into the Oilers zone as it's Howard, Matt Savoy, and Quinn Hudson. Hey, Cal Pickard just made the first save of the game. Matthias Janmark, Adam Henrique, and Trent Frederick. Of course, Regula in for Stillman, so keep him that what you will, as the Oilers doing a good job so far in this hockey game, managing the puck enough to not have created a desperate chance against the Flyers, so that's good. As this is going to be an afternoon game, and you got to temper your expectations. That's kind of the problem when it comes to the Oilers and playing at 1:30 in the afternoon, is you just have to kind of, I understand we need these 2 points. It probably won't be pretty if we get them, and it probably won't be pretty at all throughout the game. So this one down behind the net is Vladar out to play it again. He'll throw it along the wall. The Oilers first ones to it, back to the blue line. Down along the wall now. Henrique will guide it low. Picking it up there is Emerson. Emerson gets it free for Henrique. The shot through traffic. Save made by Vladar. And a dangerous looking chance right there to start the game for the Oilers. Just a floater from the point, albeit not like a high danger chance, but just one of those gets loose off the goaltender in front, and it's an easy little rebound to tap home. So for the Oilers, not a bad situation there just to throw a puck on the net. 6-2 loss Wednesday against the Boston Bruins. Again, Pastrnak had himself another night, as it typically happens for him almost every other night. Is here's the kid line at long last for the Oilers. All right, we're a few minutes into the game. The Oilers kid line back to the blue line for Regula. Regula over to the far side, and that was Quinn Hudson getting knocked off that puck on the pass. Here's Regula. He'll tip it in off the stick, I believe, of Ike Howard as this comes off the end wall, and now chasing after it is Howard. He can't get there quick enough. And this will be turned up in the neutral zone by the Flyers, who are offside. We'll have a stoppage in play with 17:46 to go. As this is not a bad matchup for Matt Savoy, being against Garnet Hathaway. Obviously an alright situation. I believe that's the Flyers' fourth line, so it's not like the Oilers' young guns are going to be outmatched by the high-octane firepower of the Flyers on this shift. Flyers, though, win the face-off, fire it down along the wall. Nurse to Regula, over near side for Hudson. Hudson trying to win the battle again. A defensive zone shift here now turning into for the young kids for the Oilers. Is that'll be Nurse helping it along to Savoy, turning it over there at the blue line off the end wall. It'll be tapped along the wall there by Regula and Nurse behind Calvin Pickard. Hudson, the AHL Rookie of the Month in December, 9 goals, 13 points. The Oilers go for a line change as this will be out from behind the net to the far side, picking it up. The Oilers across through the neutral zone. It's the second line on the ice here again for the Oilers, tipping it back into the Oilers zone where the Flyers. This will work back into the neutral zone as Draisaitl across the line, loading up. Podkolzin the save, the rebound off Vladar goes into the corner, but Podkolzin with a good-looking shot, and he loves to shoot from there, especially on a pass from Draisaitl as this one's tipped up off the glass from Roslovic to Draisaitl, back to Bouchard, far side. Ekholm shot through the traffic, hits Vladar. He scoops it up rather easily. We've got 16:40 to go here in this first period of play. So the Oilers at least getting to work here as no call on that trip in the Oilers zone on Draisaitl. And then that ultimately led to Podkolzin firing this puck on Vladar, and the chance for Podkolzin on the rebound being cleared out by the Flyers. 16:40 to go here in this first period of play. As along the wall, back to the blue line. Near side now, Bouchard over for Nugent Hopkins. Down along the wall for McDavid. McDavid skates at the point, misses the pass to Bouchard. McDavid skating around inside his own zone now, trying to wheel up as he'll go back to Bouchard. Pressure on. Far side pass, Ekholm now through the middle. A turnover, but Nugent Hopkins able to come up with that puck nonetheless as Nuge will fire it down along the end wall. It'll be picked up by the Flyers there. They'll try and chip out of their own zone and get loaded. I cannot read the Flyers players' names whatsoever here as this one across the line. Shot towards the net. Save made by Pickard, so count it. That's 2 saves for Cal tonight. And here's McDavid in on net. The shot! Oh my goodness, what a good-looking shot for Hyman on the loaded-up pass, drop, whatever you want to call it there from McDavid as Emerson along the near side wall, loading up McDavid out of the corner. Pass over to Nugent Hopkins, couldn't get the shot through. Now with 15:42 to go here in the first period of play, the shot through traffic. Save is made. McDavid will roll around beyond the net to Nugent Hopkins. Top line is cooking here. Offensively, as Stastny comes skating in on the puck around beyond the net. He's going to go around the world, stop up in the far side corner. And here's McDavid trying to come out from behind, looking in front for Nuge, and that puck just goes wide as the Oilers continue to pester the net here with this one as this goes along the wall in for McDavid. He's still got the puck. He turns it over in the slot, and it'll be fired out of the zone by the Flyers. And the Oilers, they're having themselves a half-decent start to this hockey game, controlling much of the first 5 minutes of play as this one up through the middle of the ice. It'll be the kid line back out there for the Oilers. Along the end wall is Savoy and Howard come meeting for that puck. Hudson trying to support the middle. Worked out off of the Flyers' stick. Howard, a good battle there to keep possession for the Oilers once it got in the offensive zone. And now Howard's going to tap it down low and go chasing after it alongside Hudson. This will launch itself up over top of everybody, and that allows the Flyers back the other way to the middle of the ice. The shot towards the net. Save is made by Pickard again. Cal Pickard, hopefully this is the game where he has himself a special one this afternoon as Nurse in behind the net, picking it up for the Oilers. Nurse will go from behind his net, then come back right behind as the Oilers once more complete line changes and get the 4th line on the ice this afternoon for this team. Janmark, Henrique, and Frederick. As Janmark can't win that battle, and coming back the other way, Henrique's trying to pester his man. He'll do it to the near side wall. Picking it up, Frederick can't get that puck cleanly as the shot fired off of the pads of Pickard into the far side, and the Flyers in the neutral zone regather as the Oilers, again, just trying to come up with the puck here. It'll be turned back by Philadelphia, pushed down on the play as Frederick, a little bit of heavy body play there in the neutral zone to separate man from puck, and the best the Flyers can do is fire it in to the Oilers zone. 13:34 to go here in this first period of play. 5-1 the shots on goal for the Oilers in a scoreless hockey game thus far. Picking it up through the neutral, now the second line on the ice as the Oilers and Flyers continue to just roll back and forth here, line through line through line. The Oilers have done now 2.5 full rotations of the lineup, and the Oilers looking good doing it so far. Is that Hyman chance probably the most grade A of the game so far for the Oilers? And, well, hey, what do you have to say? It's been a solid afternoon performance over the Edmonton Oilers so far. Don't mind seeing that whatsoever, as you know how often it is. The Oilers really struggle to come up with that great performance in the afternoon. So awesome to see the Oilers just kind of controlling the game, controlling the pace, and doing what they do best at just kind of dictating things in the offensive zone. That shift from McDavid and company was absolutely awesome to watch. So now, can the Oilers keep it rolling? That'll be the question here as this game carries on into the late stages of this first period. So obviously for the Oilers, still scoreless too, and I mean that's kind of where you're going to have to start piling up shot after shot after shot, right? We're at 6-2 for shots on goal, and we're only about 7 minutes in, so the Oilers have plenty of time, to get up to 14, 15 shots in this first period. But again, if you pile up a ton of shots here in this first period, well, the Oilers should at least either do one of two things: make Dan Vladar very comfortable in net for the Flyers, or else score a couple of goals along the way. And I think we all speak for ourselves when we say a power play wouldn't hurt those chances either. So the Oilers obviously looking pretty all right so far through this game, and that's really all that matters at this point. Is the Oilers just need to kind of look decent in every single game they play in 2026, and that should get us really hyped up for what should be a fun hockey game going into the NHL playoffs here soon. So, yeah, we're only, 4 months, 4.5 months, I guess? 3.5? Yeah, 3.5 months away from getting the NHL playoffs up and underway. So, won't be long now. Chris Knobloch obviously has given the kid line 2 shifts so far, so that's at least promising here for us. 13-17 to go here in this first period of play. Leon Draisaitl will be waved out of the draw. Coming in now for the Oilers, it'll be Jack Roslovic, who again isn't a bad second option on the face-off dot for the Oilers on that second line. Picking it up, Nurse. Nurse will fire up through the middle. Turned back by the Flyers. Back into the Oilers zone. No icing on the play. So with 13:07, the Flyers will take possession inside the Oilers end. A quick stick there for the Oilers. Regula gets it out into the neutral zone. Regula trying to guide it across for Podkolzin, who will thunder his man into the boards and try and come up with that puck. 12:53 to go here in this first period of play. Puck over to the far side. Flyers skating away with it as they'll get across the line here. Busting to the middle. The opportunity scores. I don't know how that one fully broke down for the Oilers in real time. That was ugly. That was tough to watch for an Edmonton Oilers squad that so far in this hockey game had been playing a pretty solid game, and then just like that, back the other way, give that up against the Flyers, and it ends up in the back of the net as Couturier over to Tippett, and this one just simply back of the net on Pickard again. This is where you wish the Oilers goaltending would make that one extra save, and they just don't usually do. As Barkey, I think, is that his first NHL goal or something? He celebrated that one pretty emphatically there, jumping into the boards, but tough go. Yep, so Barkey's first in the NHL for the Flyers. That's a tough beat, so. All right, this one, working to the far side. As first NHL goal for Barkey of the Philadelphia Flyers. This one down the right wing, shot towards the net. Is denied there by the Oilers. Picking it up now, McDavid. McDavid over to Nugent Hopkins, over to Hyman. Hyman looking back to the point here. Bouchard now as the Oilers try to get going with his top line. Being an effective unit so far in this hockey game. They got some responding to do here against the Flyers. 12-12. Remaining in the first period of play as this puck's worked back to the far side boards, and it'll be out into the neutral zone. Bouchard with the puck for the Oilers. Be tapped back across the blue line offside, and that will be stopped there with 12 minutes exactly remaining in the first period of play. So the Oilers, tough go there on the first goal against, but hey, you know what? End of the day, it's about now responding and getting that job done correctly. So the Oilers just need to find a way find this. So let's see this. 2 assists in NHL debut, December 20th versus the New York Rangers for Barkey. 12 minutes remain in the first period of play. The Oilers lead 6-3 in the shot department. And again, plenty of time here in this first period to turn around what is only a 1-0 score so far, as the Oilers off the wall as it'll be picked up. Stastny along the near side boards, back into the Flyers zone. Racing for that puck is Janmark. He can't get there cleanly, and it'll be off the wall. Henrique was able to come away with it as Janmark now trying to bat this one back. He can't do that. 11:40 to go here as the puck flips up into the neutral zone. The Flyers will backhand it into the Oilers territory, and again, Pickard out there tonight looking to make the difference for the Oilers, and so far 1 goal on 3 shots isn't quite going to do that job. Again, he could lock in from here and have an absolute incredible finish to this hockey game, and I guess that's what I'd be hoping for as the Flyers cross the Oilers blue line to the far side, looking to load up the shot towards the net instead into the corner in behind, as the Flyers will go back to the point, and the Oilers, this is where the afternoon starts playing heavy into the factor as the Oilers start, they come out hot, they get flattened by the first goal against, and then they just kind of do exactly this, just start looking slow, looking tired, and looking, disinterested almost in playing the game. As this one back to the point for the Flyers. The Flyers are running the Oilers kid line around, but I don't think it's the full kid line. I think it's still a lot of that fourth line alongside Henrique, Frederick, and Howard. As this one bouncing around through the far side boards there against the wall. The Flyers tap it back to the blue line. Flyers off to the far side point now. The shot to the middle of the ice. Rebound in front off a block shot. The Flyers have been in the offensive zone for 51 seconds now, almost a full minute. As this one to the far side off the corner. Battling there. Couturier back to the blue line as the Flyers load up. Looking to fire the shot towards the net. Instead, defer off to the blue line. They will go offside on what was looking like a set play for Tippett coming in. So, as it's a tough go here for the Oilers so far in this hockey game. You started hot and then all of a sudden you're just starting to kind of, slow down as you often do in the afternoon games. And that's kind of where the Oilers, get themselves in trouble so often in afternoon games. And again, this is kind of where it is kind of what I expected, but it's still so frustrating to watch in the same breath as the Oilers will load up. Here's a chance for Draisaitl through the middle now to Roslovic over far side for Podkolzin. Roslovic along the far side wall. Shot from Nurse through traffic, blocked in front. The Oilers have not had a shot in the last 4 minutes-ish of hockey again. So that's, again, where you kind of start seeing the Oilers, costing themselves a little bit, not getting the shots on goal, not getting the job done as effectively as they did in the first 5 minutes. And now a puck off the skates here allows the Flyers a shot on net, and then it's swatted away in front. And this one back for the Flyers, and it will be shot there by, I believe, Sanheim, and a goal for the Flyers. And I think that's going to can it here for the live stream after the first period here. I didn't really have much interest in going past the first period to start with, and man, the Oilers in afternoon games, I should know better, but it's just kind of par for the course. This one, Sanheim just rips it over top of the shoulder. There's traffic in front, sure, but at some point you got to just luck into a save too if you're the Oilers goaltending. And Pickard, I'm pretty sure he saw that, but just never was able to shoulder it up as the Oilers will flip it back into the Flyers zone. 9.5 minutes remain in the first period of play. Is a tough go here as the Flyers take the 2-0 lead back to the blue line near side. Bouchard the shot on net. Save made by Vladar, and maybe to the credit, the Oilers aren't getting near as much traffic to the net as the Flyers have been over the past few minutes, and obviously that's because the Oilers haven't been playing in the offensive zone the last few minutes maybe. So tough game to watch so far here for the Oilers. As we started, like I said, those first 5 minutes were exactly what you wanted to see out of the Oilers, but it just seems like everything that came from that evaporated after that. So friends, again, if you're tuning in for the first time, consider hitting that subscribe button. Currently, I think we're 19 subscribers or something like that away from 19,000 or something like that. Hold on. Yeah, I think it's 19 away from 19,000 is what the math was this morning. So, 17 away from 19,000 now. So, there you have it. Honestly, for the Oilers, hopefully things continue to roll here. And Barbershop, I would say you are completely wrong when you say the team is bad after Christmas. The Oilers own the best record in the NHL in January over the past 3 years. That's actually a legit stat that came out today from, I believe, Jason Greger, is the Oilers are the best team in January in the last 3 years. Obviously, they've needed to be the best team in January in the last 3 years. So kind of nice to see at least the Oilers coming up with some big efforts here the last few years. Again, historically, you're probably 100% accurate, but that's kind of the issue here. So the last 3 years, they've been really good after January. And honestly, the thing is, I think the recency bias with the Oilers when it comes to just watching the team have a bad game for us is terrible. Because obviously, the Oilers give up a goal and every Oilers fan is done with the team after one bad goal against. So, again, you got to caution. This place is in first place in the Pacific Division. For whatever that's worth, the Oilers are usually never in first place in the Pacific Division. So you at least got to enjoy the fact that the Oilers are there. They've worked hard enough, despite not working at all, to be there. And here's a turnover now for Hyman. Hyman in on net, fired off the shoulder of Vladar there as the Oilers' first line continues to be the best line all game. Pass there, turnover instead. And this one's back to the far side, picking up the Flyers. Will load back into the defensive zone. 8:49 to go here in this one, as this will go off of the boards into the Oilers zone. 8:45 remaining in the first period. 8-6 now the shots. The Flyers right down the middle of the lane. That's a save or a block, I'm not sure which. It ends up out in the neutral zone nonetheless, and the Flyers start rushing in once more. This will be picked up by Ekholm over to Bouchard. 8:25 to go here in this first period of play, as it looks like the Oilers will load up Ike Howard through the middle of the ice, darting towards the net. He fired that shot, it got blocked. Here's Savoy with the puck. Back to the blue line. We worked out of the zone off a block by the Flyers, and then Savoy's able to tap it back down to Pickard, who starts Howard immediately at the Flyers blue line, although he just dumps it in. The Flyers will be content to get it back out, and there's just no press from this Oilers team here in this, well, since the 15-minute mark of the first period. There's just been absolutely no press from this team in terms of getting physical with it or getting along. And again, you don't have to be tough to be physical at the NHL level, and that's where the Oilers are really, really struggling now over the last 7.5 minutes. So this will be off a glove there. The Flyers. Here's now Draisaitl. Draisaitl wraps around the net. Draisaitl back to the blue line. He will fail to make the pass. This game is just getting harder to watch by the minute here, as this one down the left wing shot towards the net as the Flyers take out Pickard a little bit. Pickard is able to stay on his feet. Pass to the far side here. Loading up. Blue line shot for the Oilers. And again, just driving to the net has been a problem over the last 8 minutes for the Oilers. And yeah, it's been a tough last 8 minutes of hockey to watch, that's for sure. This is not what you want to see out of the Oilers in an afternoon game. Obviously, knowing historically what the afternoon game brings for the Oilers, game in, game out. So now, 7:07 to go. Nice chance here again. I know we can't always get power plays, but get something started here, whether it be via power play or something, as the Oilers desperately need to stop playing on the perimeter here in the offensive zone and get towards the net as they continue to pass around the blue line and on the outside of the circles, as this is a pass at the blue line that fails to connect again. And how many of those have happened so far in this hockey game as well for the Oilers? 6:44 in the first period, just not sharp as this one off the end wall. Nurse rolling along there to the far side. The Oilers out of the zone here. Roslovic in the neutral zone, pass through the blue line area, cut off by the Flyers, and the Oilers have just no push, no edge, no nothing here. And yeah, this could be a long one here this afternoon against the Flyers. Is 9-1-3 record when scoring 2+ goals this season for the Philadelphia Flyers. Tough go is this one. Off to the far side, Flyers going to fire it into the Oilers zone, tipping it in there and just leaving it for the Oilers. A clear there that somehow got through the skates of the blue liner for the Flyers. 6 minutes to go. A pass now for the middle again as that jam shot on Pickard almost works a second time in this hockey game. The Oilers, they've shot the puck 9 times, but 2 dangerous chances over the 9. So tough go here. The Oilers just playing from the perimeter too much, and this one is just, I'm going to be done after the first period of play. I can tell you that much. This is tough to watch. This is literally just like, the Flyers aren't even flying themselves. It's just the Oilers just aren't moving. Is this across the line? The Flyers towards the net, puck in the back of the net. I think that has a chance of being waved off. Brink was in the crease, but Knobloch looking pretty disgruntled on the bench there, and Ingram trying to check things out, see if maybe there was some goalie interference on that play for Pickard, but my goodness, absolutely brutal. That one just cut off. Terrible turnover by Bouchard. And the Oilers' death by 1,000 cuts from earlier in the regular season starting to return here again for him, as York just fires the shot through, and there is, I think Pickard initiated the contact there with Brink, so shouldn't be a reviewable play for the NHL or for the Edmonton Oilers. Will have the face-off at center ice, 5:22 to go here in this first period of play. Emberson with the puck. York and Michkov get the assists, so this one along the near side. The Flyers inside the Oilers zone again, 5:06 to go, picked up. The Oilers will work back the other way, as I think the old kid line will get a whole bunch of time now, given that the Oilers need some kind of spark. Howard, no lack of confidence to shoot the puck tonight. He's had about 3 shot attempts so far. None of them have hit the net as far as I've counted, but still, nonetheless, an opportunity for him to just start rifling pucks at the net, given that the Oilers find themselves down 3-0 currently, as this puck's tied up there by Hudson. And this one will be worked back into the Oilers zone, as off the end wall in the Flyers zone. It is an icing call there against the Edmonton Oilers. 4.5 minutes to go in this, the first period of play, which has just been not kind to the Edmonton Oilers whatsoever so far. But again, they haven't been exactly kind to themselves here. So we'll have the face-off to the right of Cal Pickard. Road wins last season, 13 all told for the Flyers, 9 so far this year. Shot through traffic, save is made by Pickard, and now all of a sudden Emberson and Bouchard are going to get mucking it up a little bit in front with the Flyers. Garnett Hathaway. That's this stuff. Friends, if you are hanging out, I'm sorry, this live stream, the Oilers sucked the wind out of the sails, even though the wind was out of the sails to begin with. Still a little bit tired from last night's effort, but Flyers find themselves up 3-0 here after, 15 minutes-ish of the first period. If you haven't already hit that subscribe button here on Dolynny TV, would love if you would do that, as we're closing in on, guess what? We're closing in on 19,000 subscribers today. We're just about 17 or 16 shy of getting that job done. So that's where we're at as we continue along for obviously this tough game that is this Edmonton Oilers game. You'd figure, I'm sure old social media is having themselves a fun time with this one. As we go here, this is kind of where we're at. There's a lot of anger about this Oilers game. Oilers being a train wreck defensively, according to Mark Spector. Yeah, we can kind of see that with our own 2 eyes there, Mark. It's been a tough go from an Edmonton Oilers perspective here this afternoon. The Oilers just they showed up ready to play for 5 minutes, and the Oilers have gotten the job done here in this this period since by giving up 3 goals. So tough go, and just kind of is what it is, right? I guess that's the issue. So the Alberta Injury Lawyers, James H. Brown, big old sponsor of the Edmonton Oilers, as that's where we find ourselves here this afternoon as the Philadelphia Flyers. Talking things over, as it looks like what do we got going to Italy, as Travis Konechny or Travis Sanheim, right? I don't know, can't remember. As this is where we're at as friends. Again, like let's grow up here a little bit. We don't need to just keep swearing in the chat here tonight. We're better than that. We've always been better than that here on the channel, but for some reason, 3-0 afternoon game on Saturday, January 3rd, has got everybody bent out of shape. So don't know what to tell you, as the Flyers will win it back to the blue line here. They'll miss the play at the blue line. That's going to allow Zach Hyman into the offensive zone to play to the far side. And what do we have here? We have a fight. So Darnell Nurse is going to do something against Garnett Hathaway. Nurse not a fan of Hathaway taking liberties with Bouchard earlier on that shift, as Nurse is firing some hands wildly here. Hathaway's not exactly getting the better of it either, as Nurse still has his helmet on, and Nurse is going to get turnstiled by Hathaway. But hey, hands up. Nurse at least throwing the gloves down and throwing a little bit of a fight here. 3-0 the lead for Philadelphia, and I don't even know why as Garnett Hathaway you would take that fight, but not bad there for Nurse to at least drop the gloves a little bit and get this going. So hopefully, hopefully things get rolling here. So yeah, now the Oilers, hopefully with Nurse and Hathaway haven't dropped the gloves, get that little spark they need. Nurse basically just threw around Hathaway until Hathaway threw Nurse around. I think Nurse landed one punch. I think there was only 2 punches landed in that entire fight. And here we go. 4:20 to go in this first period of play. Hey, if you celebrate. 9-8 the shots. At least Philly's even the shots. So it's not necessarily near as bad as it was when it was 6 shots to 4 and it was a 2-0 lead for Philly. So here we go. Through the neutral zone. Oilers across to the far side. Looking down the right wing to the middle of the ice. The Oilers can't tip that one on net again. Just getting to the front of the net and being just a little bit more pushy in front has not been the Oilers' forte this evening. But here's McDavid on a breakaway. McDavid in on net. Scores! Yes, indeed. That's what you need right there. Connor McDavid on the breakaway finds the back of the net. And it's 3-1 against the Flyers. And just like that, again, like I said, if you could find a way to score a goal or two before the end of the period, you have life. And the Oilers cut the lead to 3-1 for Philly. So, yes, indeed. That you need to see right there is nice play there from McDavid to just kind of be floating. And obviously, you know, Gretzky kind of used to do the same thing back in the day. So for the Oilers, McDavid just blocker side on Dan Vladar, finds the back of the net and is able to charge home a 3-1 game for now the Flyers. But hey, you know what? This is what we needed, right? Nurse goes out there and says, hey, I give a damn. Drops the gloves, gets the fight, and then all of a sudden McDavid scores. And Ekholm, by the way, gets his 15th assist. So Mr. Matthias Ekholm having himself a solid little season so far. As across the line, the Oilers somehow not offside. Yes, they actually are. So there you have it. That's it. As 3:36 to go here in this first period of play. McDavid across the blue line there and just quickly on net. No problemo there. So that's Connor. That's classic Connor right there. One-on-one on the goalie. He's going to find the back of the net almost every single time. 3:36 to go in this first period of play. Picked up by Spencer Stastny. It'll be wrapped around the near side boards, and the Flyers go in behind their net, chasing that puck. It'll go into the neutral zone. Now to the near side, picking it up. The Oilers will fire it back in for, I believe, Ristolainen to pick up the puck there for Philadelphia. Crossed into the blue line area and across. Oh man, I can't even talk. Ran out of water about 20 minutes ago, it feels like, as the Flyers will knock down the Oilers inside their own zone. This one to the blue line of the Oilers zone, backhanded there by the Flyers as it'll be fired back into the Oilers zone. 2:56 to go in this first period of play. Oilers tap it back. Stastny to his D partner, Emberson. Emberson and Stastny. I think that's a decent little D combo for the Oilers, you know, honestly, as here's McDavid loading up again. He's cutting through the middle of the ice, and he's got speed in on net, but he's going to cut to the near side blue line for Bouchard instead. The shot through traffic a few times. Can't find the back of the net, and then all of a sudden the Oilers have found another gear here. Ekholm pumps one on net. McDavid quickly back on the puck. Bouchard, a shot towards the net, gloved down by Vladar, as suddenly Hyman and Nugent-Hopkins in front, you know, pushing things around for the Oilers, causing a little bit of chaos for the Flyers. And now you got 12 shots, you got a goal on Vladar, and things could possibly be working out here for the Oilers if this late period effort continues all the way to the buzzer. So hopefully this is the case here for the Oilers here in this, well, you know, now just about heading to 2:30 in the afternoon at Rogers Place. Is this one off the draw, picking it up, Bouchard. We'll have a stoppage in play. I believe we have McDavid getting kicked out of the face-off dot. Is that what we're going to do here? We're going to redo the face-off here with 2:21 to go in the first period of play. The Oilers having themselves a pretty solid game at the start, right? The first 5 minutes was solid. Then the next 10-ish minutes were real bad. And the last few minutes have been really good again for the Edmonton Oilers. So this team, again, if you have a consistent effort, and that's what we've talked about all year, is just the Oilers playing a consistent effort, would make the difference when it comes to it at the end of the day. So the Flyers across the line, they're going to drift a shot towards the net. That one's going to go off the backhand clear of Ekholm right into the glove of Pickard, and we will have a stoppage of play with 2:11 to go here in this first period of play. The Flyers, yeah, you know what? Hey, good on them, to jump out to that 3-0 lead. Again, the hope is 3-0 is the worst lead in hockey. It's some kind of stupid mental thing, so hopefully for the Oilers, they can find a way to capitalize on that and get this going as the longest point streaks this season. Well, Connor McDavid continues to get it going. Another point tonight, 35 points on the current streak. Face off to the near side inside the Oilers zone. It's the fourth line for the Oilers out there right now as Bouchard behind the net will pick this puck up and fire up through the middle of the ice. Tipped across the Flyers line, but relatively cleared easily by the Flyers. Coming to the near side, loading there for Frederick, who's going to go thundering in against the wall. Janmark will play it back to him behind the net. Frederick back to the blue line, picking it up, shot fired towards the net. Now fired out in front. The Oilers just body up that puck. Frederick was able to get it in possession. Here's Regula. Regula, the shot through traffic. Blocked in front, I think, by Henrique, and then skated through the crease by Janmark with $1:30 to go here in this first period of play. And all of a sudden, the Oilers just kind of a little physical shift here out of the fourth line. A little bit of identity actually taken there from the fourth line, as this is Stastny and Regula now pushing and shoving inside the Oilers' defensive zone. Flyers with the puck at the blue line, and hey, you know what? The Flyers came out with a memo. They were going to be physical in this one, and the Oilers at least as well, being a little bit physical here as this period winds down in the last minute of play. The shot from the outside from the Flyers, blocked in front by the Oilers again. Looking towards the net, it's blocked one more time, and this one will be worked by the Oilers to the near side. Roslovic leaving it there for Podkolzin. Podkolzin sees it tapped by the Flyers, backhanded off the boards, picked up by Ekholm, shot in by the Oilers one more time, and this will be 36 seconds remaining in this first period of play. And it looks like the old afternoon's going to get started from here for me as Couturier draws that one into the zone for the Flyers to the far side point. The Flyers one last gasp of air here. Instead, the Oilers are going to pick off this puck and look to load up Draisaitl as the Oilers quickly complete a line change now. Loading into the offensive zone, Roslovic alongside McDavid and Ekholm. Puck went out of play with 9.5 seconds to go here in the first period of play. The Oilers will complete the line change with the whistle. And yeah, the Oilers now just one face off probably to try and get something done here in this first period. If not, it's a 3-1 lead for the Flyers after one period of play. So for the Flyers, not a bad go in this one. Obviously, the Oilers pressed and then they took advantage from there. So back to the blue line. Bouchard over the far side. The shot off the end wall. Picking it up 4 seconds right in front. Scrambling the crease. And Dan Vladar will cover up that puck with about a second remaining here in this period. So we will have McDavid against whoever in the draw for the final face-off of this first period of play, as the Oilers at least clawed some dignity out of this period. Again, kudos to Nurse for dropping the gloves, and McDavid with 0.4 seconds to go here on the clock will load up in the slot. The Oilers will empty the net as well with 0.4. Of course, that's just kind of par for the course in the NHL nowadays, as everybody's starved for that little bit of extra offense. The face-off scrambled up. That will do it here in this first period of play, friends. That's it. That's all here in the first period. I appreciate everybody hanging out here on the stream this afternoon, for everybody coming on by. For right now, though, I'm going to head out. I got some afternoon plans that I'd rather get to, like cleaning the house while watching the game than sitting here and watching what this first period was for the Oilers. So I'm going to go be productive, get the job done here to start the new year, and we'll